Welcome back, it's Nine, and today we are going to be discussing how Sony is reportedly trying to get as many PS5s on shelves as possible to meet the demand for the PS5, and we're also going to be talking about the Xbox Series S not running the Xbox One X versions of backwards compatible games. Now, before we get into this, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, and hit the like button. It helps the channel a ton. Now, let's get right into this, and this comes from PSU.com, titled Sony is reportedly using air freight to ship PS5s to retailers in order to meet demand. And this comes from a name you guys might be familiar with, ZHugeX on Twitter. Also goes by Daniel Ahmad, and he says Sony are using air freight to ensure that PS5 can meet demand / supply enough units. The company has booked 60 flights from October to ship consoles to retailers. This supply is expected to last through the quarter. Air freight is faster than sea, but more expensive. Just to clarify one point, I'm not 100% certain if this is 60 flights or 60 aircraft, but it does sound like each flight will be full. Source for this is Delta Air cargo head Jerry Tai. Now, we all know that ZHugeX has leaked a lot of stuff in the past or had some insider information in the past, whether it be about games like Final Fantasy or whether it be about consoles as well. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this could be true. And if this is true, boy, that's a really good sign for us who are really trying to get our hands on a PS5. This could spell more of an availability, and I know a lot of us, and I see it in the comments, you guys are worried about not being able to get one day one for those that are looking to purchase day one. And even with this being said, it's still going to be a very big shortage of PS5s for the demand. We know that a lot of people are looking to buy one in. So there's simply just not going to be enough within the first year. We already know that there's going to be a maximum of, I think, 10 million, and that's into early 2021. And for worldwide launching, that's going to be very, very little to go around. That's for sure. I do think that the bulk of them are going to go to these countries like America, Canada, UK, I'm going to say Australia as well. You know, I realize that they're going to send them to as many places as possible, but I think they're probably going to focus on places where they are selling the most units. So overall, this is very good news for anyone who was worried about more of a shortage than we are probably going to see. But as I say, there's really no chance that we're not going to run into a supply and demand problem given the pandemic and everything that's happening around us. So good news if this is true. And if it's not, well, I mean, we expected a shortage anyway, so how much worse is it possibly going to be? But this really shows that PlayStation is about, you know, they're consumers. They're about making things available to us, even if it costs them a little bit more money, because as the guy said, it costs more to ship by air than by sea. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. On to our next topic, and this comes from Video Game Chronicle. Titled Xbox Series S won't run Xbox One X versions of backwards compatible games. Xbox Series S was designed to be the most affordable next-generation console and play next-generation games at 1440p at 60 FPS, a Microsoft spokesperson told VGC. To deliver the highest quality backwards-compatible experience consistent with the developer's original intent, the Xbox Series S runs the Xbox One S version of backwards-compatible games while applying improved texture filtering, higher and more consistent frame rates, faster load times, and auto HDR. So this is the first drawback of the Series S, right? It's kind of disappointing to see that it's not going to support the One X enhanced versions, which you would think for a next-gen console that it would be able to do that. But I guess there are issues in terms of memory and being able to do exactly what the One X did. Now, is it a deal breaker for a lot of people? Probably not. I think that most people who are looking for the Series X are probably just going for the more affordable console and still being able to play third-party games and being able to do that whole Xbox Game Pass thing. I know that a lot of people are fans of the Game Pass subscription, and so this appeals to them. Ultimately, it's a bummer because we're looking at a next-gen console, right? So truthfully, it should be able to do anything the One X can do in better. That's kind of the expectation when we look at a next generation piece of hardware, and it looks like that's just not going to be the case with the Series S, and no matter how you look at it, that is disappointing. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to say that you just go out and get the Series X if you really care that much about these enhancements, but I think the point of the matter is that this is a new piece of hardware. There's no excuse at all why this shouldn't be doing the same thing as the last generation's hardware. I think it's just that simple. So people who are frustrated with this, I think have a right to be frustrated, because this is something that Microsoft should have made sure of at the very least, especially if you're somebody who's really invested in the Xbox ecosystem. Now, with that said, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure a lot of people might not even care that much for it, given that backwards compatibility just being a thing in general on the Xbox platform is a big deal for some. Overall, I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me. Chances of me buying a Series S are very unlikely. If I'm going to buy an Xbox, it's going to be the Series X, but because I do have a very capable PC, I don't know that I'll ever even buy an Xbox. I might just upgrade my GPU, but I haven't made up my mind just yet, because if I'm doing reviews, sometimes they can only give you a review copy on a certain console. You can't really pick and choose. For example, I am reviewing a game up and coming. It's a multi-platform game, and they gave me an Xbox code because they didn't have enough PlayStation codes to go around. And fortunately, I have an Xbox, so I'll still be able to review the game, but I won't be playing it on a PlayStation platform. So in events like that, it'll be useful for me to have an Xbox, but I think unless I run into that situation with the next generation Xboxes, I'll probably just stick with my PC for the Xbox games. Now, with that said, I'm going to pass this on to you all and ask you, number one, what do you make of this whole thing with Sony reportedly using air freight to get PS5s to us faster in order to meet demand? Are you excited about this? Is this going to give you hope of probably getting a PS5 more so than you otherwise would have? And lastly, what do you make of the Xbox Series S not having those Xbox One X versions of backward compatible games? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos. Hit that like button. It helps the channel a ton. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. And lastly, share this video with a friend. I greatly appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Take care.